Welcome back to another episode of My Way Podcast, the space where we explore the real stories behind women who are creating life on their own terms. And I'm so excited for today's episode because I have such an inspiring guest. She's a cyclical coach and the founder of the Cyclical Babes Club. Idalotta's story is so powerful. She healed her autoimmune disease, got rid of painful periods, and discovered the power of living in tune with her cycle. Now, she helps other women balance their hormones and create a lifestyle that works with their bodies, not against them. And of course, because it is my way after all, we'll be also diving into her own personal story. How did she leave the corporate world, her 9-to-5, and started online coaching from scratch? So, if you're interested, let's dive in. What were the pivotal points for you that you felt like, okay, this is what I'm meant to be doing right now?
Yeah. That's a really good question.
I'm starting with the hard ones.
Yeah, starting with the hard ones, exactly. As you said, it's not about finding a career you actually like. It's something that's your purpose. And I think for me, it's being soul-led and let the soul guide me. It's not that the life begins from me. It's that life flows through me. And every time there is resistance, every time I try to let my mind tell what to do instead of listening to the inner guidance, I try to pause. I try to resist life in some way.
Was there any kind of specific moment where you realized this shift?
Yeah. So if we start kind of from the beginning, I got diagnosed with arthritis at the age of 8. So it's an autoimmune disease. And at that point, my life really shifted because now I wasn't like a normal kid anymore. I had completely different kind of schedule and different kind of life. I was living with pain, with a lot of treatments, and it felt like I couldn't tell how to treat my body. Someone else was telling me what's right for you, what's wrong for you, what you can do, what you cannot do. And that way, little by little, I was giving my power away. I think kids are really, really powerful. They're super intuitive. They know so much more than we do. I actually think that. And little by little, when they grow up, we teach them what is life, how you should behave, how you shouldn't behave. And then we think that adults actually know so much more because we've seen so much more. But it's not true. That's not the way. And maybe at the age of 13, about 13, I got really interested in the inner path. Mm-hmm. I got interested in yoga. I started treating my body in other ways than medication as well, like through nutrition. I started ice swimming, I think under the age of 10
so
with my mom.
Before it was cool.
Yeah, before it was cool.
That's like...
Yeah. And I think that's kind of, I would say that's when I kind of woke up, or that was my spiritual awakening. But I was so young, so I don't really know if I ever went to sleep either, if I ever really got out of the path. But that's when I started to dig deeper. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because all the time the society was trying to tell me that you should be using the medication, or you should be doing this, you should think like that, you should be like this, you should be like that. And all of us, the women, we hear that. You should act more like this, you should be more like that.
More polite.
Yeah, you're doing something wrong or you're doing something right, do more of that. Instead of embracing that whatever you want to do is the right thing to do, even if it doesn't make sense. And that's how I started to follow that. And during the journey, there have been a lot of moments when I have chosen again, chosen differently, forgotten, and then remembered again. That's a bit of the story.
Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking, and this also reminded me of how there's this quote that we are learning how to live until the age of 20, and then all of our 20s we're spending on learning.
Yeah.
On learning those ways. But I'm just thinking, because you were 13, approximately that age, what was it? Were your parents also supporting, looking at different ways, or?
Actually, yes. My mom has always encouraged me to find some other solutions. Like arthritis is an autoimmune disease that affects your joints. So I would have swallowed, like swollen.
Yeah.
Swollen. Yeah, that's the word. Like swollen knee or something. And my mom would wrap kale around it, kale and salt, and let it stay for the night to let it heal. And yeah, I think she has kind of like introduced me the gate to try something else, to ease the pain, to try something else, but still, I think that she's a bit scared that can you actually live fully without the medication or whatever it is.
And when was it that you decided that you were going to do it without medication?
A bit more than a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not that long ago as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so during that journey, where was it that cyclicity specifically came in?
Well, life is cyclical as it is. And I think like by embracing cyclicity, we embrace life. Because it's not only about the moments when we are blossoming and everything's going well, but we also need the moments of death and rebirth and silence. And we also need the moments when nothing is actually happening. And it's frustrating because we want everything to happen right now. But it was through the painful period. I think it wasn't only the autoimmune disease and the painful period. I have had a bunch of other diseases as well, if we could put it that way. But it came through the painful period. Like, I didn't always have painful period. I didn't always have problems. Actually, my period was not painful at all in the beginning. I didn't have any hormonal issues until it started when I was maybe 18 or 19.
Okay.
And of course, I think as everyone, I was offered some kind of medication for the period. And I remember so many times I called the gynecologist, crying that I need some help because it was so painful. And they're like, yeah, sure, we've got options. And the options are hormonal birth control or really, really strong painkillers. I'm like, so what are the options? Like these don't really seem options for me. Well, I tried it anyway. It was horrible, the hormonal birth control, for about 6 months. And then I decided, okay, I will not do it anymore. I want to learn what it means to live by the cycle, what it means to live by every moment of the cycle. Actually, one of my friends put it really well when she started to embrace the natural cycle, and she was like, oh, I didn't realize that something's actually happening every day. It's not just like every phase, but it's every day something is going on. And I think that's really beautifully put.
That's really beautifully put, yes. Yeah. And also, before we go into the cycles, the part of that you mentioned about the painful periods, because of course there's now more and more awareness coming into place about it, but I still find so many women who don't know that it's not normal because it's so normalized because everyone has it. And
exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, some people are actually going really mad on me on social media when I say that period is not supposed to be painful, and they're like, yes, it is. Everyone has it. It's super normal. No, it's not normal. It's normalized.
Exactly. Yes. And I think that I'm just wondering, where is this gap of information really? Because we do have, some sort of education in schools, but that part is never discussed.
Yeah.
And unless within friend group there's someone who has normal
Yeah.
period, then if everyone has, not normal periods or with pain, then again, it just reinforces that belief. And I think that this also goes generationally as well, because
Sure.
you only teach what you know.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, crazy. But then now going on to the cycle itself. So you talk a lot about the also archetypes of cycles. So can we maybe go bit by bit?
Yeah. Sure.
Yes, maybe not day by day,
Yeah.
but maybe phase by phase.
Yeah. So the menstrual cycle can be divided into 4 parts. So it's the menstruation, follicular phase, ovulation or ovulatory phase, and luteal phase. So it can also be divided as the year. So it's inner winter, inner spring, inner summer, and inner autumn. And inner spring is kind of where the cycle starts. New cycle starts when the period starts, and the first 2 days are still part of the inner winter, but actually the 3rd day, the energy levels start to skyrocket, and with the rising estrogen will rise the neurotransmitters as well. So we will feel better, we will feel more energized. And this is, if we describe it by the archetype, this is described with a kind of like young girl energy.
So kind of
Really,
like maiden archetype,
yeah, but also like also kind of like princess.
Okay.
Like really, really eager to take risks.
Okay.
Eager to learn new things, eager to try new things. Like this is the phase of experimenting. It's kind of like you're coming out of a cave and you're like, okay, so what's in here? What is this world we've got in here? What can I do in here? Oh, this is so interesting. And just like trying new things, looking things from a different angle. Yeah. So this is the first part.
Is this also the part where you would suggest to best launch any kind of projects or start something new, or not yet?
Well, it's a really good question. I actually think that we need all of the parts. They're equally important for us and for our projects. I will explain why, but this is the beginning of the cycle until ovulation is usually also when women feel the best. Because we have most of our traits that are described as masculine. We are really creative. We can solve things quickly. We are social. It's easy to sell. It's easy to be seen in front of the public or at the workplace. And many women think that, okay, so we actually have like 5 good days in the cycle or during the month, but we actually need all of the parts. But our society as it is doesn't embrace that we could tap into our own power. Instead, we have to push through it or act in a way that's not natural for us. And that's what's also making us sick. Pushing through with high levels of cortisol instead of tapping into your own power. And that's what I teach as well. Like, how can you embrace all the parts of the cycle and use all of them, for example, for your projects, instead of fighting against? Because when the menstruation approaches, many feel like they have to push through and it feels awful and just take painkillers and go to work or whatever it is, like feel crumpy and cranky. But that's not how it's supposed to be.
Yes. Yeah, it's I think that at least for those women who have, I think it's harder for those who are, working for companies, for instance, where there's only one way of doing things. And usually that's the masculine way of doing things, right? With 24-hour cycle. And Yes, but still, I feel like just by knowing this information, you can start making adjustments and you can plan your calendar in advance. You can plan your meetings in advance. And I think as long as we ourselves respect it, everything around will also, in one way or another, align.
Yeah, exactly. I think the most powerful thing to do is to be aware of it on your own, and by that start to make change. And also when we have more women leading the companies, we have more women who have the same acknowledge, we have more women that have tapped into their own feminine essence, we will see the change as well, for sure.
Bit by bit, woman by woman.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So then we have, what's the next phase?
Yeah, we will approach the ovulatory phase. Just before the ovulation, the hormonal levels will peak and then crash for a while. And then from that starts the luteal phase. So many women feel like the ovulation is the best time of the cycle, but it's actually just until before the ovulation. If you want to say that it's best when you feel the most energized. Actually, the day, even the next 2 days after the ovulation can actually be even worse than the last days of the cycle, because the hormone levels will crash and then they will start to rise a bit again. So we've had estrogen rising before ovulation. Now we will have progesterone and estrogen as well. Mm-hmm. And this will feel more relaxed, more flow, when before ovulation we were ready to rule the world. Now we would sit back with the coffee like, okay, let's leave that for someone else.
Let them roll.
We'll chill for a while. And this is actually a really good phase for doing something that needs your attention, like needs your focus for a while. Because if before ovulation you were ready to do everything, ready to multitask, it's actually not a good thing to multitask because you will forget that you also need rest and you also need food. And if you were running like there's no tomorrow before ovulation, after ovulation you will feel super tired. And actually the archetype of ovulation it's kind of like a goddess. Okay. It's really ready to receive, ready to be in her, kind of like the juiciest part of the cycle. Okay. And when we approach the luteal phase, it's more queen energy. It's like, okay, you can do what you please. I will be in my own power. And if anyone is disrupting me, they get to go. It's a zero bullshit zone. Love and this. It needs to be. And especially when we approach menstruation, many women will feel anxious or like kind of moody or PMS, pre-menstrual symptoms. And I think it's actually a good thing if you are feeling that. Many women feel like it's a bad thing, but I think it's actually a super really good thing because it's showing you what needs to go. Like if there is a thing that each cycle, at the end of each cycle, is rubbing you the wrong way, it actually needs to go.
I love this. Yeah. This is so powerful, what you just said. Because indeed, in general, I think when it comes to our cycles, there's the very negative connotation, even by us women, right? Like, oh, I have my period. So that already. But then the part of it being whatever irritates and starting noticing that during this phase, what are the things that irritate you? What is frustrating you? What's coming up? And starting and noticing that's powerful.
Yeah, because actually what's also happening in the body, you're more resilient to stress before ovulation and a bit after ovulation, but the resilience decreases just before menstruation. And if you ignore it each time, it's not actually a good thing. That's also a reason many women get sick before menstruation, because they are pushing too much through the cycle and then they think there's something abnormal about them. But no, it's actually you're not honoring your body.
I'm getting like
Yeah.
in Russian we call it murashki. I don't know.
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps. There we go. Yes,
Yeah.
on that, not honoring the body.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
How would you say, if there is someone now listening to us, and if there is, and wondering is there any best phase to start tuning into your body? Obviously, we're honoring all of the phases, but in a way that you're more likely to continue.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, the menstruation itself, it's actually a really intuitive time. And I think that in women, we have the womb that is actually the place of creation. And during menstruation is the only time we can be somehow connected to it, because we have something coming out of it into our existence, like something we can see and feel and touch and smell. And it's that time that you're connected to your creativity. It's a time you are connected to your intuition. Yeah. And if you ignore that, like it's something that's shameful, it's something you should be ashamed, something that should be hidden, something that's awful, something you're trying to ignore, of course it's going to get louder. It's as crucial part of you as all of the others. Yeah. So I think that, because just by sitting with your feelings, sitting with everything that you feel like needs to be hidden, it's a super powerful tool to get straight to what's actually inside you. Like what's in your soul? What's your soul trying to tell you? What's your body trying to tell you?
What is the best way for you that you have found how to tune in, how to listen to your body?
Yeah. Oh, this is such a good question. And still we need to address the project thing. How to...
when are we doing this project?
Yeah.
Yes, true.
Yeah. Well, I have seen that it takes a few months to get to know your cycle. So when you start to track it, not by an app necessarily, but with pen and paper, just to start tracking what's happening each day. Okay, today I felt like this, today I felt like that. This was nice, this wasn't. I felt creative, I felt awful. In the beginning, it will seem totally irrelevant. Like they're just words that seem like they have no connection, and your mood is just dependent if you had coffee or not, if you slept enough or not, if you had someone screaming you at work or not. But after a few months, you will see there actually is a pattern. Like something is happening every cycle at the same time. Or you can be really focused on something and super interested in something, and then you lose the interest. And then you think that, okay, so maybe this is not for me, or maybe this is not part of me. And then the interest will come back, and it will come back, and it will keep on coming back. But if every time you lose the interest, you think that it's not for you, you will not stick with it. You will kind of like close your eyes from something that is part of you, but because it's not all the time, you think it's not for you.
This is such a good hack.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it because I use the app.
Yeah.
It always asks me for the mood, but the mood part I just let go.
Yeah.
But then coming back to the point, because yes, when we think about femininity, we think about tuning into your body.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's usually one of the first things that comes to mind. Now, when you are tuning into your body, sometimes exactly those will be the things that come up. Like, actually, I don't want to do this right now.
Yeah.
But if you're not tracking and you're not aware of actually what is the cycle part of it, like what phase are you in? Is there a certain pattern? You might take that as the feminine way of living and just, okay, this is not my thing. I will move on to something else.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me to tune in with my body, oh boy, as I've struggled most of my life with my health, I've tried to do everything to feel better. I have prioritized well-being so much. And last summer, I actually started to feel new kind of pain in my body. It was something I hadn't felt before. I thought it will like go away soon. It didn't. And of course, my family is like, so should you like start some kind of a medication again or go see the doctor or something? Like, no. Like in the beginning, I was like, so what's going on? Because I thought I was doing everything right. I was eating right. I was sleeping. Like I was kind of like, it seemed that all of the pieces were together. But that was actually a way just to try to get the pain to go away instead of tuning in to my body, instead of listening what it actually has to say, like what is actually the way to which I'm going to. So I started to listen. It was hard in the beginning. I wanted to escape because I wanted to go back to something normal. I used to do so much sports, be all the time doing something, and all of a sudden I couldn't. Like, why can I not be normal? And I was waiting for things to get normal. I was waiting to get back on the old me or old body or old self. And one day, actually one night, I was lying on the floor doing a body scan meditation about pain, particularly. And the meditation asked, like, okay, so just let your body tell you, like, what it has to tell. I've done hundreds of those kinds of meditation, and lying there once again, listening what my body has to tell. And the first thing that comes up, it says like, okay, so you're 26, you have actually never listened what we have to say, and now is the time to start living by the body. And that was super powerful because I thought I had already been listening. I was working out, I was eating healthy, I was sleeping, and those are super powerful things. Like when you take care of your body, when you take care of your mind, you free so much space for something else. But it's still not the solution. Like it can be the tool to something greater, but it's not the solution. And then I realized, okay, so it's actually not me who moves my body. Like it's not my job to go somewhere, go to the gym, go to a space where I move my body in a particular way and it's labeled as good or bad or wrong or right. It's actually my body that moves me. It's actually my body that has something to tell that moves me. And that's when I realized, okay, so our society, we don't actually have so much space for our bodies. There is a particular way you have to perform the movement, and if you're not doing it correctly, something gets broken. Like, no, just be with your body. Let it rumble, let it shake, let it jump. Like, let anything that's coming up, let it just be. Like, give your body some space. Like, probably until now, it didn't have any space. Like, we are forced to sit, we are forced to walk, we cannot dance on the streets, we cannot jump on the streets, we cannot jump in the office, and when we get home, we sit by the TV on the couch. Our society actually doesn't have so much space for our bodies.
It's predefined, yes.
Yeah.
That is also so powerful. Wow.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in this one event where we had to do like this ecstatic dance.
Mm.
For a lot of people there, it was the first time to do it.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is usually a moment where you realize, like, wow, actually you have no idea what your body wants to do. Because there, you're literally given the music, and instead of dancing, so, you know, it looks nice, allow your body to just do whatever it wants to do. And a lot of times, people just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I am like very good at it or etc. But it's just that idea of the fact that exactly we're using it in these predefined phases. If we have to work, we sit down, as you said. But then where's the part where you allow it to move? Mind blown. But then you were mentioning that it came to you during a meditation that you did, like this body scan meditation. So you were doing already body scanning before that. So how did it change? Like why exactly this particular body scan worked?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I've done meditation for years, and it's a super, super powerful tool to change you, because I think that our body is actually not sick. It's our brain that has the pathway that's repeating it, that's making it sick. And when we change the brain, we actually change the body as well. Because our body is just a continuous of the brain, of what's happening in the brain. I think that until then, I had the idea that I knew what I was doing. I had the idea that I knew how diseases form. Like I had the idea, that, okay, so it's caused by stress or poor diet or constant negative thoughts. And then I was like, but still something is wrong. Like still I'm not doing something right. So what is it? Like I didn't have anything to lose. I had everything to learn. Mm-hmm. Like I was so deep in it that I didn't have a choice. So I was like, we'll try it. Also, why it was just this particular meditation is because I already knew a lot about the brain, how the brain works. I love neuroscience. I also teach about it. And still, it's kind of like a minor science in the Western society, or especially in treating diseases. And I already knew about it, and I follow a lot about researchers that tell about it or people who talk about it. And there are evidence from so many resources that are not related together, so that it's already formed my belief system that that's actually what's happening. And then I found this app that's built for the research, or like built through the research of neuroscience, and it's especially made for curing pain. So
what is this app?
it's called Curable. I don't know how to pronounce, but it's like cure-able. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what can you do there? How does it work?
Okay, so if the people on Curable are seeing this, I haven't paid it. But I'm really, really willing to try it.
So this is a smooth way of asking for sponsorship.
Yeah, I haven't tried. I have only tried what you can do for free in there. I haven't bought the app. But it's AI-assisted kind of like pathway or program to know what causes pain, why you get kind of like why the pain becomes continuous, why the pain becomes, what's the word I'm looking for, chronic, yeah, and what happens in your body and what happens in your brain. So it gives you knowledge, and it gives you meditations and other tools to change your perception of the pain.
How does it do it? What sort of data do you give it?
Oh, you don't need to give any data. I think it asks for your name,
right?
Maybe for your age, but the program is like already built in there.
Okay, so it basically gives you some set of exercises to follow through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And you've been using it?
I used it, for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the tools I use.
Okay, I hear that there's a lot more.
There's a lot.
Okay, give us maybe like your top 3.
Top 3 tools. Okay, I must say, as a disclaimer, that I think that actually anything can work. Because I do think this, that we are actually, now I don't know if you listen to Abraham Hicks, or if anyone who's...
Absolutely.
Perfect. Or if anyone who's listening, this one listens to Abraham Hicks. But I do think we are source energy, or we are like, our bodies are energy, and they are the same form of life as everything else on this earth, and or even more than the earth, beyond the earth. Yeah, and and the life is flowing through our bodies, but we have this human mind that thinks that it knows the best, that it thinks that it knows what life is, or how it should be, or how it shouldn't be, or what's right or what's wrong, and what's possible and what's not possible. And anything that gets you out of that and gets you into the mode that I actually can feel what life is. I actually can feel that I'm alive without my mind is what works the best. So my latest journey, my latest journey with my body has begun with the exercises of the hip area and the womb and like connecting, I think, with the feminine essence, because a lot of trauma gets stored in the hips, in the body. So whatever gets that moving. So it started from going from hips to even deeper exercise with the pelvic floor when I realized actually my body just wants to shake. Like I can start a bar lesson from YouTube. I get 5 minutes into it and my body is shaking and I'm doing something completely different. And I start my mornings with a body hour. That's something I started to call it. So I set a timer for 1 hour and just be with my body. Because in my previous life, being with my body it meant that I went to do something with my body or for my body. I went somewhere, I did something particular. I played or watched a YouTube video or a yoga lesson online. Like it meant I would do something for the body. And now it's okay, I have 1 hour. What does my body want to do? Usually at the moment it's some kind of like shaking and dancing and trembling. It can also be writing. I love the journal or tapping meditation. And actually those are my other two. So
the top two.
So
okay.
yeah, so journaling and tapping meditations. Yeah, that will be it. So giving the body the space to be, to move, like to be without thinking if it's correct way to be alive. Journaling, because I don't know, I've loved journaling always. I had a bunch of old journals, but now I was cleaning my old room at my parents' place and I was like, okay, these get to go. They're not part of me anymore. And tapping meditation. It's such a powerful tool as well. And for that, I use the app Tapping Solution.
Not sponsored.
It's not sponsored.
Okay, so got curable, not tapping.
Tapping Solution.
Tapping solution. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And that basically has it's the EFT tapping that
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So that's how basically one can start connecting a bit more. With
Yeah.
the
Well,
body,
that's what
yeah.
I do. I would say that also, like, if there's something you did as a child to connect with your body, because children are amazing with their bodies. They know instantly, like, this is what I want to do. This is not what I want to do. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then we put them labels. Okay, like, yeah, you can move like that. Okay, but that's weird. Why are you being like that? Don't be so loud. Don't be so slow. Don't, like, why do you have this emotion? And that's how they learn that being like that is wrong. And that's how we get sick again. But kids are actually the best with tuning into their bodies. So if there's something you enjoyed as a kid, like collecting worms into nature.
That does not sound that weird, to be honest.
Yeah, but like if it was the nature, or if you love to swim, if you love to perform, if you love to dance or read, like if there's something you loved as a kid, go into the library, like anything. Or if there's something in your life, like in some part in which you felt in peace with yourself, like in which moment you felt that you chose yourself, go back to that. Like, what were you doing? And why did you abandon it? You probably abandoned it because it didn't felt right all of the time. Like, it felt right, but you didn't want to do it all the time, so you felt like it's not for me. Go back to that. It's the gateway to the next step.
Yes, and I think that there's also usually probably some sort of logical limitations as well, because there's this kind of societal pressure of
Yeah.
what you should be doing
Yeah.
instead. And
Yeah.
I think also because of how history was, then there's this idea of like, this is the successful way.
Yeah.
And this is not the successful way. So don't go there because you can't make money that way. You can't live that way.
Yeah.
And that just reinforces, but we live in a completely different world right now.
Yeah.
Where truly tuning in and doing what you love to do actually has a completely different outcome.
Exactly that. And I think that what might stop from tuning into one's body is that it doesn't work the first time. It doesn't work the second time. You don't like journaling. You don't like meditation. You don't like dancing. Or you try to be still, and it's giving you anxiety, and you think it's not working. It's not for me. This is the waste of time. But actually, like even for me, sometimes it feels like I don't want to be doing this. Like this is such a waste of time. I could be working. I could be doing something that's more like meaningful or gets me faster from point A to point B. But the problem starts when I stop doing the routine. I can skip it for a week and start to feel like shit. And then I wonder, what's wrong? When it's because I didn't continue with my routine. And I didn't continue because it didn't feel good on that moment. Because, for example, with meditation, we know that you have to continue at least, I think it's about 8 weeks, 30 minutes a day, and you start to see the results. So if you try it once or twice or 3 times, it's not enough.
Yes, and I think exactly so many people just try it and they're like, oh no, it's not for me.
Yeah.
And then there's also this idea that you have to have a completely clear mind and only then it works.
Yeah.
But it's the same as with gym, right? Like you're not gonna suddenly start lifting, I don't know, 50 kilos if you've never done this before.
Yeah, that's true.
It takes time, but then it's also about realizing how important it is. Because as you said, right, like with work or even with our physical bodies, we put them as musts, and then anything else comes as like secondary or in the third place. So the reprioritization as well goes in hand. But going back actually to the cycle very quickly, because I had just one particular question that I really wanted to ask you about. And that is about the free flow.
Yeah, go ahead.
Free flow or free blood. That's how people call it. So what is it?
So free flow or free bleed, it means that you're not using any kind of menstrual, I think the word is menstrual tools, or pads or whatever, and just let it flow.
Have you tried it?
Yeah. Well, at the moment I actually use period panties. So it's not using like the menstrual cup or pads or the tampon, but it's not like flowing through your pants either, if you could say it like that. Yeah, it was actually really transformative for me. I started it over a year ago, and it's completely changed my period. Yeah, I already didn't have any cramps back then because I had worked so much. Before that, I was vomiting during my period because it was so painful. I didn't have any cramps or any pain, but it was still a bit uncomfortable, and the flow was really, really heavy. And it like one of my friends said that, so what is the blood that's coming out like? Because it has kind of like all kind of stuff.
That it does, yes.
So I had like some kind of stuff, and I started to connect with the flow just by sitting on a towel the first days of the flow, and I could actually feel the connection with my womb through that flow. And I think already the next period, it was so much more lighter. It didn't have any stuff anymore. It was just kind of like pure blood, and now it's really, really small.
That's so interesting because actually, like also from energetical perspective, it is a release.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it would be like, it would make sense that if you connect with it a lot more, it also, there's a lot less
Yeah.
to release.
Yeah.
But then where did this kind of idea, how did it come to your mind even to try it out?
Yeah, I actually had a podcast guest who was doing it. So she challenged me and I started it.
Love that. And then, so basically, it kind of, you did have to plan it a bit in a way that you're not busy all day out.
Yeah.
Right.
And back then I had a job where I could work remotely. So it wasn't an issue. Yeah.
Well, so would you say that this is more for women who want to connect more with their bodies, or is there any other reason you would suggest it?
This is my theory. I don't know if it's correct. And I don't think there is any kind of, well, I've researched a bit and I haven't found any kind of research. I don't think there is, because female body is so unresearched. But we have a lot of microbiome in our body, and actually the gut microbiome is a crucial part of health. And the microbiome, the bacteria that we have in our gut, actually affects our mood, affects our digestion, affects our skin, affects like anything you can imagine. It's even more powerful than the brain, and yet still we have given the masculine logical brain like the superpower. But actually the gut is even more powerful when we talk about health. And it's connected with the brain as well. So our gut can actually sense the outside of our body as well as the brain can through the senses. Period flow, the period blood, actually also has microbiome. So I think, and the microbiome is a messenger. Like it tells different kind of things. For example, the gut microbiome sends messages to the brain about even if the surroundings or the environment where you're living, if it's safe or not, or if the food it has is good or not, for example. So I think that the microbiome, the bacteria of our blood, tells something as well, because we have because the blood that's coming from inside of us has a different, has a particular pH, HP.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think you call it pH.
Yeah. And I think that's telling, like, message about your health, because the blood that you have is kind of like the residue of the cycle, like what's being built in there.
Mm-hmm.
How was your ovulation? Was it healthy? How much progesterone did you have after ovulation? Was there enough, or is there excessive estrogen? And what's coming out is actually a message to be seen and heard and received with our body.
Mm-hmm.
And when we clog that, like we put something to stop the flow, that it's not even getting through all of the skin, or like it's not touching the skin we have, I think it needs to produce even more of the blood. And that's why women who try the free bleed, they'll tell that they actually do not have such a flow anymore. Like it's really minimal, because there's no need to produce such excessive amounts of blood.
Right. I didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah.
Because there's also, I've heard that some women talk about their periods completely stopped, which I thought was quite interesting. But the fact that because there's nothing in between, so the message is coming through and there's no need to push for more. Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. Okay, well, now we know what free bleed or free flow is. So thank you for that. Yeah. Wow. Is there something else that you feel like that we touched upon, the period pains, this free flow, listening, tuning into your body. Is there something else that you feel like women should definitely know but don't know about?
Yeah, well, we briefly discussed about the projects. So let's go back into that. How you actually harness the power of the cycle, how you actually use it. So what I want women to understand is it's not something you fight against. It's something you use. So you get more done in less time with no cortisol in the game, with no inflammation, with no PMS, with no brain fog. Like you can actually harness your inner power because it's your superpower. And until now you've been told that it's something that's scary, it's need to be ashamed, you're moody because of that, or whatever it is. So I think every part of the cycle is equally important, even though we think that the period is slowing us down and we don't want that, it's giving us cramps we don't want, it's a crucial part of it as well. So this is how I would describe it if we talk especially about the projects, but this goes into everything. Like this is how you can plan your life around the cycle and get the power out of it. So the inner spring is when you want to start new things. It's like, oh my God, I'm so interested in that. There's such a cool event coming. I want to do this, I want to do that. And that's continuing until the ovulation. And then the energy crashes and starts to get up a bit by bit, slowly. And you start to go deeper into the things that need more focus. So for example, if you're using the energy of the cycle for studying or doing a long school project, you would study new things and collect a lot of new resources and a lot of new books during the follicular phase until ovulation. And then after ovulation, you would focus on the things you already know, you already have. You wouldn't go looking for more. You wouldn't get even more things on your plate because now is the time for deep focus because the end of the cycle is coming and you want to kind of like wrap things up so that when your energy drops, you don't have your plate full. Because nothing in the nature, in like nothing that follows the laws of the physics go from 100 to 0 in no time. That we cannot do it either. Like if we talk about how we see the cycle during the year, it's not like it's the end of the summer one day and poof, we have snow the next day. It doesn't go like that. The nature is getting ready to welcome the death, to welcome the pause. It's slowing down little by little, day by day. Like that's what autumn is. It's really necessary part to let go of the things that don't serve anymore. What nature does is it's actually restoring the green stuff from the leaves. And like it's like you're cleaning the summer cottage to get it ready for the winter that it's nice to come back the next year. And that's what you're doing for your projects. That's what you should be doing for your studies or whatever it is. Like kind of like getting it ready for a pause. Like you did your research, then you focused on it, and now you're getting ready for a pause. You're not trying to push it. You're not trying to learn new things, because that's when you actually push through it. You can do it. I'm not saying that you couldn't do. It's like women are so powerful, we can do whatever we want. But what if you push through it, through the period, you're done. You're done when the inner spring comes again. Instead, if you take the moment of pause, you take the rest, do something else for a while or do nothing for a while and go back to your project. And then you have, again, all the space for the new information, all the new energy. Like, okay, so what's actually important right now? But if you do not give the time for the shedding, your plate will be completely full all the time. And each inner spring, you're taking even more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. And then you wonder why you're burned out, why you have so much going on, why things are not working out. It's because you are not giving space for the debt.
Boom.
Yeah. And that's how you harness the power.
Wow. No, that is powerful. And I think that it truly takes. How long does it usually take? You mentioned to really kind of sync with your cycle or like.
Well,
yeah.
It takes about 3 or 4 months. This is what I've seen, but this is like what's kind of like known in the word of cyclicity.
Mm-hmm.
But it never stops. Like you never really get fully into it because even I am every day like getting deeper into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, because I think that if you start now, then it might feel like exactly as you said that you have to pause even though you're so used to rushing. So it might feel counterproductive starting.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, like once you get actually accustomed to it, that's when you start reaping the benefits of living according to how your body wants to live.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I think what I see right now is that a lot of women want to learn it. They want to know. But I also understand that it can be quite overwhelming because you are trying to not get to know your cycle, but you're trying to get all of the 4 phases. And if we think that one of the phases lasts approximately 1 week, and you have your whole life already going on, it's kind of a lot going on all the time if you're trying to get to know your cycle.
Mm-hmm. But would you say that the best way to start is by then starting to journal, or would you say to start it together? So you're starting to follow your cycle and you're also journaling down what's happening.
Definitely journal. Yeah, it can be even one word. Like draw a circle on a paper, and starting point of it is the first day of the period, and then just around the circle, even one word that describes your mood or your appetite or anxiety level or if you have any pain or like whatever it is, because you will start to understand, like if you do that 1, 2, 3 times, you will start to understand that what are the things you actually even want to write down.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very powerful way.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Then coming back to now, I was thinking for the fact that you mentioned about cyclicity and how we're trying to really push through what is not meant to be pushed through.
Yeah.
It also reminds me actually of numerology and astrology, exactly the same way. We think we have so much power and there's nothing else going on. But then again, try going out in a bikini during winter time. Like there is life on its own. And so cyclicity is just in all of the different various aspects. But I think because we're just not aware and we're not taught and we don't know that information, we're so skeptical usually. And that also goes to even tuning into your own body as well, right? But how did you now, so you found this way for yourself. You're now teaching other women how to do the same. You have the Cyclical Babes Club that you founded. What do you guys do? How does it work?
Oh, I love it. It's a journey. I have actually a program called Shortcut to Cyclical Living. So it's a shortcut to cyclical living. I teach everything I would have wanted to know. The day I decided I will not take any more of the hormonal birth control, and I will start to go like book by book, podcast episode by podcast episode, nutritionist by nutritionist, deeper into it. And what it meant for me, it was like Googling in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep because of the period pain, what next random supplement I could use, or if acupuncture could help me, or so what is actually cortisol doing, and da 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 da. What I would have wanted to know when I was going through that, and I felt completely lost, like I had no idea what's going on. So we start with biohacking, we start with how you can improve your well-being, how you can improve your cycle, because we know what's going on during the cycle. So how you can, with your nutrition, with your, like, by taking care of the well-being, how you can feel well. Because when you feel good in the body, when you know what you're doing, you're not constantly using all your time to find new solutions or find new information or try out the next thing. You free space for something else. So that's what we begin with, to give the proper information we all would have needed about the hormones, about the neurotransmitters, about what's going on in the body, what's going on in the mind, and how you can take that information into your own life and start supporting your body, supporting your mind. The next step is harnessing the cyclicity, like how you, exactly what we've been talking about here. What are the archetypes? By the way, the archetype of the period time is kind of like a witch or hermit, or like something that's super in their power, in their intuition. It can be even something ugly, like a witch might be. Anyway, we go to each phase, like what it is energetically, how you can use it in your projects, how you can use it in your self-development, how you can start to build a life, to understand and give space for those energies, for those phases. I had one client. Well, she was ready to find a husband, move to Espoo, live a happy life. And then she realized that there's actually nothing wrong with me and that I'm interested in different things. It's actually my superpower. Like, I'm supposed to want different things. I'm supposed to be interested in so many different things, and there are so many different sides of me. Like, there is the super feminine, cute side of me, but there is the super masculine, achiever side of me, and the logical, and the leader, and the feminine, and the one who's receiving. Like, there are so many sides of me, and we also go into the themes of how you harness your masculinity and your femininity, because we need both. And now she's applying to be a what's the word in English?
You can say it in Finnish and then.
The lady who works on the plane.
Stewardess.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's kind of opposite
of settling down and being in one place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the third part is how you use your mind for the change. Because when we're doing all of that, we are learning a new way of living. We also want to create a new way of living. Like how you create a life where you can be soul-led. Because when we're turned into our body, when we're turned into our cyclicity, we have tapped into a superpower. So it's not that we tapped into the superpower and make us kind of like superhumans in a way, instead of being tired and sluggish or whatever it might feel when you're not in your power. And then we would go back into the masculine world, just into
using that superpower.
Yeah, using that superpower. No, we want to create something completely different. And that's also why the change happens. Like, almost everyone who's been in my program has changed their career or have started to do something different. Just the other day, I got a message from my client who said, I think I found my calling. And that's
beautiful.
Powerful.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Because a lot of the times we also just say, oh, I don't know, or don't even allow ourselves to look that way and think something different. Wow.
Yeah.
So now, how does anyone so if someone wanted to join this club, how can they do that?
Yes. Well, if you're watching this, message me. I open doors every now and then, and I tell on my socials or on my email. It's the fastest way to know when anything's happening. But I tell on my socials, on my email, when I'm opening. And if I'm not opening, there is a waiting list. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Usually with everyone who wants to get in, I always have some kind of conversation so I know I can actually help. And if it's actually a good fit, because we all want that. Yeah.
Yeah, that it works both ways.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
of course. But okay, about this club. Now we know what to expect of it,
Yeah.
how to get into it.
Yeah.
How did it all start? So if I researched correctly, you founded it a year ago, approximately, last spring.
Actually, the
Yes.
birthday is coming next week,
Which day?
21st.
Oh, so just a day after my birthday, but
Oh,
it's
wow.
the actual springtime,
Yeah.
the actual year.
Yeah, that's when I
Yeah.
founded it. Last year it was the, what's the word? I'm not sure. But anyway, last spring it was the 21st. Yeah, that is like completely new beginning.
And you
Yeah.
know what's interesting? Because I was looking at your numerology chart.
Nice.
And just then you were entering your 5th personal year.
Oh, wow.
And when we look at like the numerology cycles, they go from 1 to 9.
Yeah.
There's different cycles. There's 12. But 9 is one of the ways we would be looking at the years. So as people, we're kind of going through the cycle in a way that we're growing through different parts and learning different lessons in different areas of our lives. So 5 is the number that is in between. So it's sort of giving us the second chance to get back on track or like to switch completely and turn our life 180.
Wow.
And I was looking that during that year, you had broken up, you had completely left your corporate career, established business, moved abroad.
Yeah, that all happened within a month. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, we need a bit more information on that. What was happening?
Yeah, so last year about this time, I had already started building my business. I had already started to, I had already started to build Shortcut to Cyclical Living. And I was still in my job. And then one day I was like, no, I'm actually tired. I will not go there tomorrow. And I didn't go back anymore. And that was the feeling like my wings would have been released. It was the feeling of such a deep freedom. Like, yeah, exactly, like a new chance. Yeah. And when I got that, I was like, well, I want more of it. What else can I do? What else can I burn down? And it didn't take long until I broke up with my boyfriend. And
Sorry.
yeah.
Just so funny because you said like it gave you a sense of freedom. So now you're like, okay, let's break up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I was like, what's something as big as this I could do? And yeah, and then I was like, okay, so I really, really feel like I need to go to Spain. I have lived in Spain now for 4 times, short periods of time. I was meant to go to Bali. It's been my dream for over 10 years. And I was meant to go there. I was like, no, I don't know what, but Spain is calling me. I need to go there. So I bought the ticket. And there, like in the middle of all this, I started the business and the program. Started taking the first women into the club. Yeah.
How was it for you to?
Yeah.
Because I understand that once you made that first step of quitting your corporate career, then it's a bit easier to also take a chance on all the other things.
Yeah.
But taking that first initial step, you said it was that feeling that like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I want to do something else. But were you planning something beforehand of like, okay, there will be this moment arriving and I will be sort of ready? Or yes, how did it work for you?
Well, actually, the job wasn't going to be for much longer anyway. I just kind of wanted to change a bit quicker. For a while I had this feeling like, oh shit, what am I doing? But I got I was so supported. I was so guided. Like my whole journey, I've been so guided. Yeah, I didn't need to question. And I think that's actually one of the things that separates the ones who succeed and the ones who don't. I'm not saying that actually I'm saying that I know that everything that's meant to happen to me will happen, because I'm not doing my, like, I don't even think I have like a career. I'm not doing my job, or I'm not doing whatever I'm doing for me. I'm doing because I'm called to do it. I'm doing all of the good things, but I'm also taking in the struggle and also going through the hard things. And I know I've been called here to do this. And so I know that the universe is on my side and it wants to see me succeed. It wants to give me all of the resources I need to succeed. But the biggest thing that I have been following, or I have tried to remember in each part of my journey, is that I need to do the thing before I see the results, before I see what's coming out of it, like before I see what's on the other side of it. Like it's kind of like, I call it meeting the universe halfway, like going to meet the universe, not waiting everything to be ready and everything to be figured out. It's not like I'm not waiting on the table to be set and go sit there. It's that I go to the place, I find the table, I find the food, I find the people, and that's how I give the universe the space to come meet me.
There's this story of this little boy who's going to the fountain. Have you heard of it?
No, I don't think so.
He goes to the fountain and he throws the money in it, and he's praying like, please allow me to win the lottery.
Oh, yeah.
He goes the next day, the third day, and then suddenly the statue comes alive and he's like, please buy the ticket.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like this just resonates so much with what
Yeah.
you were saying, like just trusting and still doing something, but without the necessarily focusing so much on what it needs to be or how it needs to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Allowing it to just evolve into something.
Exactly. And especially in business, like build a business that you would do anyway. Like if no one shows up, do it anyway. If no one comes, do it anyway. Do it for you. Like do what you actually are being called to do, so that you would do it anyway. Yeah.
And then, so you now are in Spain 1 month after. Did you already had like some savings or something that you decided to? Okay.
No, I didn't.
I love this part. Okay. Let's get to the second part of it. So that is trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't have a choice. Like, what else would I have done?
What other people do?
Yeah, but I don't want to live like other people. Like, I have needed to give myself the permission to live in a feminine, cyclical way and to succeed on it. Because on such a long time, I had this feeling like, yeah, well, this is something cute I can do and something we can tap into, but then we need to get back to the real world. And then we actually just need to push, because that's what other people are doing and that's how other people are even doing it. Like that's how even the people who want to live a feminine way are doing it. It's something you go tap into once in a while, and then you need to go back to something else. So I need to give myself permission that, okay, so even though other people are not doing it this way, it doesn't mean that they are doing something right and I'm doing something wrong. It means that it means that they are scared to listen. They're scared to trust what's actually calling them.
Yes, and also the notion of that it's supposed to be hard.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're now in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
You have just launched your club.
Mm-hmm.
How did things evolve from there?
So, I was enjoying my life. Yeah, well, what's there to evolve? Like, well, actually, I had been following, like, blindly trusting that everything I want and everything I see in my vision will come into life. I was just so sure that everything will go as it should. I was even a bit frustrated that it didn't even happen faster. I was like, so why aren't all of my goals here already? Like, why did it all happen? Like, why it's not everything, even though I was like in a few months pretty far already, like from quitting my job to having a business that I can live in and that can support me as well is like it's a sudden change. Like, yeah. And yeah, I was enjoying my life in Spain, getting to know people. I started to dance again and just enjoy life. And then this is kind of like already the third part after that, because how I see it now is that I was shown that, okay, so all of what you want will come to you. All of what you need to do will come to you. But come back for a while. Come back to Finland for a while and go through these things. I had some deep scars from my past and some wounds with family relationships and some things I hadn't completely faced before or wanted in a way to run away from. I think we all have those until we decide to deeply change something and deeply face them. And it's hard because it will trigger emotions that we think are negative or we think are hard or are not fun. They're not, it's not
Or you're not
fun.
supposed to feel them.
Yeah, or you're not supposed to feel them. Or you should be doing well. You shouldn't be going into so deep. Yeah. So I was called back to Finland and it was like, go through this, that once all you want comes, you don't have this package anymore. You don't have all of that anymore, and that it can it can flow freely. Like it can come more easily when you go through something really profound. And that's how I started to unravel that there's actually no life that I could be going back to. I'm creating something completely new.
So you feel like then going to Spain, although it was so giving back your life fully and then feeling like you're just inhaling life. And I know that feeling just because when I went to Bali last autumn, I had exactly the same feeling of just like suddenly just waking up and feeling like, oh my God, like this is what life is. And it's hard to explain it when you're just day in and day out running and doing certain things. And you're kind of enjoying life, but it's not the same as like that breath of fresh air. And you're like, oh, I'm alive. But it still was a bit of an escape for you at that moment.
I think that for such a long time, I had felt like I was looking at my own life next to the driver. Like I wasn't the driver. I was looking next to it. I was like, when this and this and this happens, I will do this and this and this. And I never thought that I would think that I will do something when. I will do something later. Because I was already doing some of the things that I had wanted to. But still, when I looked closely, I was like, okay, there are quite a lot of things I want to do in my life, and I'm not doing them. And I was looking at other women in my life, in my circle, and they seemed also amazing. So amazing, and they had like deep desire for life, and they were fulfilling their dreams and listening to their inner being. And I was like, I want that too. I want this too. So it felt like I was being held in a cage, and then I realized that I can actually open the door and just leave. I don't have to be in the cage. And then I started to run. I was like, okay, so I want to do everything. I want to experience everything, do everything I couldn't do before. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I know exactly what you said. Like, I know I'm supposed to live somewhere with the sun. Like, I barely survived this winter. And I will not try it again. I've tried enough.
It was enough. The healing's done.
Yeah, that's enough. But I could live like this. Like, it's like I'm still alive. But the feeling when I get to wake up somewhere that feels like home, that's when I'm actually alive. Like, that's when my soul is on fire. That's when I cannot stop thinking about being alive and how amazing it is.
What is home for you?
Spain.
Spain.
Yeah.
That's what you've...
Yeah. Well, at least one of them.
One of them.
And the forests in Lapland as well, in Finland. That's what I love as well.
So do you think that at some point you might be moving back to Spain
Yeah, definitely.
to settle down or for a certain time?
My dream is to have one house or one home in Spain, one in Finland, in Lapland, and that I can travel.
You know how incredibly complimentary it is for your numbers. I just had to add that because you're born on the 25th. Yeah, so that's
right.
number 7.
Yeah.
So these are people usually who, obviously we all love to travel, but 7s are here with a mission to never stop.
Wow.
In tarot, it's represented by the Chariot card. So hence why usually people who are born on the 7th, 16th and 25th, they will be kind of living these lives that they have multiple lives within one life. And you're meant to be traveling and living in different places. And it's completely different from other people who, you know, maybe crave stability and love being settled in one place. And that is actually their mission for this life. Whereas 7s, yes. So that works incredibly well.
Wow.
Yeah. But anyhow, we're unfortunately running out of time. It's been absolute pleasure talking with you, learning more about your story. All of the hacks that you've listed, I will have to listen to this episode with a pen and paper and list them down because truly, thank you so, so much.
Thank you for the invitation. It's been my pleasure as well. I feel like after the past winter, I've kind of like born again, and now this my new self can be represented to the world.
Amazing. Yes, and in English as well, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.